My guest today on episode 78 of the Ikigai Podcast is Mayumi Kojima, a naturopath living in Cairns, Australia. Mayumi works with clients who are experiencing burnout, stress, anxiety, insomnia, and negative thought patterns. Mayumi, you enjoy drinking matcha green tea, practicing Aikido, and studying Tibetan medicine, and you manage the Facebook group Ikigai Live Life to the Fullest. You are also passionate about assisting individuals who are experiencing, again, burnout to regain their happiness and well-being, enabling them to live life to the fullest. This includes engaging in activities that bring them joy and finding purpose in their daily lives. So that sounds like Ikigai to me. So thank you for joining me today on the Ikigai Podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Nick. I feel so honored.
Thank you. I feel honored too. So it's good to see you again. So let's start with a bit of background. How did you end up living in Cairns, Australia?
Yes. So when I first arrived in Cairns, Australia was 2000 as a working holiday visa. So I always have a dream of studying English further. I wanted to speak second language, the English.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for choosing Cairns was not too far from Japan. So I feel less homesick. But I also, part of the also important reason was my mother's been dealing for mental health challenge for a long time. And we had a bit of a hard time with the relatives in the past. And I always had a drive to thrive. And I wanted to prove myself to go overseas.
I see. So you wanted to prove your independence and...
Yeah.
Okay. So you basically left your family to do your own thing. Nice.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's not always easy, especially to a language where to a country where you have to learn the language. And what do you think of Cairns?
Cairns, it sort of, in a way, reminds me of where I come from, which means it's a countryside, laid back, people are laid back, relaxed. It's sufficient number of Japanese people living in Cairns, so I have access to my culture and origin. And also another thing it is I love the nature of Cairns. You can enjoy the ocean, also the mountain, the rainforest. So I think it's pack of beauty in Cairns.
It sounds all right. When I go to Japan, we always stop over for a few hours, and I keep thinking, I should really spend a few days in Cairns. So maybe one day I will, and I'll come up and visit you.
Yeah, sure. I'll serve you matcha tea.
Yeah, great. I love matcha too. So
great, awesome.
It's probably better than the coffee I'm drinking now.
I love coffee too.
So let's talk about what you do. So how did you get into naturopathy and health?
Yes, thanks for asking me that. So I started at naturopathy. The studying of naturopathy was 2015. And prior to that, I was always working in tourism and hospitality industry in Cairns, as you know, is tourism, one of the best tourism in sites maybe in Australia. But anyway, so I was very happy. If you ask my partner, he will tell you how much whinging I did every day. And also with the previous marriage as well, the relationship was falling apart. So I think in combined with the relationship and the work, the satisfaction towards work wasn't really meeting my fulfillment. So unfortunately, my relationship ended, but in the meantime, I saw the opportunity to study something new. And one of the local magazine called Connect magazine, you can pick up from the cafe or shops in Cairns. And I picked up the magazine, and I saw the naturopathy, advanced naturopathy study. I thought, oh, wow, I always interested about health and looking after my well-being. And I enrolled myself and I studied naturopathy then.
Nice. And look at you now. You have your own business, yes?
Yes, a small size, but yes, I am.
No, that's awesome. So I have a lot of admiration for people who do their own business, especially in a country where they're not from. I think there's all these extra challenges to doing it. So that's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, we connected through Facebook, and I think we'd seen each other for a while because we were mentioning Ikigai in our posts, and you started a group, Ikigai Live Life to the Fullest. I think it would be helpful for you to share how you understand or define Ikigai or what it means to you.
So I'm going to talk about through my experience. Is it okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. So during my naturopathic study and working at the same time, it was a lot of stress as well. And for some reason when I was in Japan 1 year, and I picked up the book. It's called Nichi Nichi Kore Kojitsu, means every day is a good day. So it's about the main character to develop herself through the Japanese tea ceremony. She was feeling lost university student, and her mother actually recommended to practice tea ceremony just a couple of blocks away from her house.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, like I said before, she felt lost, and through the Japanese tea ceremony, she grew. And I resonate myself very much with her. That's me. And then for the almost same time, when I was reading or just about finishing the book, I found the tea ceremony club in Cairns. One of the members was opening a 10th year anniversary of her business. She's a Japanese language teacher and doing a tea ceremony as an anniversary. And so I went there as a guest. And as soon as I finished the tea ceremony gathering with them, I said, "Oh, do you seek for member? I would love to be a member." So I became a member. And then I started talking to my partner. I think Japanese tea ceremony becoming sort of a feeling of ikigai. I feel alive, and it just brings me joy and bring me to the sort of the moment, be mindful. So I started using the word of ikigai naturally for some reason. And that was the year 2019, just before the COVID started. We are at the airport, and my partner at the kiosk and pick up the book, one of those book Ikigai.
Mm-hmm.
And I gone through the content, and I thought, oh, wow, some of the contents are pretty good in a naturopathy, because they talked about basic lifestyle recommendation and stuff like that. So I wanted to share the Ikigai word with my clients. And I thought, why not create the Facebook group and share and then connect with the like-minded people. So that's how I started.
Yeah, that's interesting how you found Ikigai in something, I guess, familiar and quite simple, but I guess traditional Japanese art where you practice mindfulness and appreciation. We might even call it something quite simple, really. So these small things or these simple things, but I guess for you, it might connect you back to your culture as well.
Yes.
And make you feel grounded or whole.
Yes.
So that's an interesting answer. I don't think anyone's ever answered that way before. So thank you.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah. Yes, and I know that book, I think by Hector Garcia it's a bestseller. So a lot of people find out about Ikigai through that book. And yeah, I think it's, inspires or helps people in many ways. So
and I started reading a book too, Ikigai Kan, and
yes.
so looking forward to finish the book and
Thank you.
And enroll your the course, the product you're offering right now, and it looks to me is a lot of gems in there, so I'm looking forward to going through that.
Well, thank you. We didn't have to mention that, but yeah,
Why not?
it's interesting how you read a book by a foreigner that inspired you to then create the Facebook group, and I'm happy to say I'm a member of that group too. So let's go a bit deeper into your work. You write that taking care of ourselves allows us to have the energy and positivity necessary to support and influence others. By prioritizing our own well-being, we can positively impact those around us. And I interpret this as prioritizing self-care. So this is self-care that leads to more social ikigai and purpose in our lives. So am I on the right track?
Yes, I think so too. Yeah, thank you so much for asking me this. And this is probably one of the biggest passion as a naturopath, before naturopath as a person, to connect with the people that way is very, very important. And in order to connect with the people better and also to create the positive ripple effect, it's one of my passion too as a practitioner. So keeping our well-being well. So started off with the physical health. That's a tangible. You can sort of feel it and then easily sort of recognize. And mental emotional beings can be a little bit tricky. But I wanted to connect with the people as a client, the clients as a naturopath. I always talk about the whole well-being, not just about the physical, but started off physical. Just because when we are happy within ourselves, the optimized well-being, we can influence other positively. So that's one of the reasons why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. We need to get good sleep and eat well and exercise so we have that energy to help others. And yeah, when we're not looking after ourselves, we get stressed, maybe we get moody. So it's really important we have self-care in our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then I guess in line with that is also this ability to have resilience. So you help clients with that as well. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that. And I'm also still on the journey of how to navigate my client is in a better way. And it probably not one simple answer, because part of the naturopathic philosophy is to tailor and understand the person holistically. And we know that each person feel, see, and hear themselves differently. So I'm always be mindful of that every time I see my clients in my clinic space. But for example, in a naturopathic setting, could create the little dependency between the practitioner and client. For example, if I see May as a naturopath, she will tell me what to do. Therefore, I will be on the right track. So, for example, diet or lifestyle advice or supplementation, the dose, when to take, list goes on. Yes, that's definitely part of my service. However, my ultimate goal is empower them so that they actually feel themselves like they're in control. Okay, I think May taught me a lot of things, and I think I'm on the track. And best things I can do is give my best go and see what happens, and leave themselves a little bit of leverage. Like I use the 80-20 or 90-10 rules. So I often tell them, look, if you're going for holidays, just give yourself 20% room to be a little bit loosened up. Have a bit of wine with your partner or have a little piece of pizza. Don't beat yourself up, for example. So my aim is to create the sustainable longevity of continuing health journey or experience.
I like it. Yeah, yep. Give ourselves a bit of freedom.
Yep.
And we shouldn't be trying to have the perfect diet or a lifestyle, because it's very hard to maintain.
Yep.
So it sounds like your clients call you May. Is that
yes.
right? Yes. Okay. There you go. I didn't know that. So related to all of this, today we're going to explore 5 concepts that you consider essential to living a healthy and meaningful life. And we'll introduce them in Japanese, and I guess you'll explain them. So the first one is jonetsu. So what is that? And would you like to touch on it?
Okay, so I'll be sort of touching on like how I perceive it, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. So jonetsu, passion to me, that's something that moves forward despite the challenge in my life. So that's how I interpret the jonetsu and passion. So, for example, in my naturopathic practice, I have encountered some of the clients have a complex cases, chronic health challenge, physically or mentally, emotionally. And I used to feel bad not knowing everything. I used to feel bad not having an answer for them.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'll be honest with them. Look, I haven't heard this before. Would it be okay for you to give me some time to study for it, so I can be ready for you to give you some sort of suggestion that we work as a team. So I take this as a challenge as for me to move forward, become a better practitioner, and we grow together as a team. I use this term a lot with my clients because it's not like I'm giving them. I'm actually receiving something from my clients as a workers team. So that's Jonetsu to me. And also I would like to mention about my tea ceremony practice and Aikido practice.
Sure.
And there are challenges coming to practice. For example, sitting on the tatami for, it's a little bit embarrassing to say, but more than 15 or 20 minutes, my legs become numb. Oh my gosh, I'm going to keep up with this. But it gives me the teaching to be in the moment and be patient. And even with the teachers and sensei, I really appreciate how they interact with me, with the patients. And I'm actually learning their patience, implement it into my practice as a naturopath. And same for Aikido. They're really patient with me. Okay, you move this way. If I don't understand some of the movement, okay, try this and then see how you go. I really love that patience from my sensei, and I'm really grateful. And the teaching from the both the tea ceremony and Aikido is actually offering me to become more resilient in life as a practitioner, as a person, and serve the people. So I'm not sure that I hope I didn't sidetrack, but that's part of my passion. Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's very helpful for you to illustrate examples. And I think practices like Aikido or tea ceremony where there are these periods of stillness, yes, and reflection. And I guess, kneeling on the floor for 20 minutes is part of the training, yeah? So you're developing resilience in that. And I guess people who can't do that, or they find it too uncomfortable, will quit quickly. And likewise with tea ceremony, it's quite a slow cup of tea, yeah? You're not drinking it quickly. Most of it's waiting and looking for cues and reacting to each other. And the actual time you drink tea is quite short, yeah, in the end. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's a process, but
It
it
is.
seems like a process of appreciation of the person, the people involved, and the tea, and the pottery, and everything being usually natural, made from bamboo. Yeah.
And it's if that's okay to add, and then I really love that you say stillness, and those stillness and the serenity and the peacefulness. It's sort of a driver for me to keep my fire, Jonetsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about these two practices, because definitely one of my core to be who I am.
Yeah, I mean the netsu from Jonetsu is actually used for fever, yeah? Or so it's and is jo what's jo mean? Jo is that expression or
expression of the emotion. Yeah, I think so. You're right. Yeah.
So it's this fever to express yourself in a way.
Yeah.
But you can do it subtly.
Yep.
Or you could do it dynamically, I guess, with some of those Aikido movements.
Yeah.
One word that's popped up in my mind is hariai. Is that similar to Jonetsu?
Yeah. I think you raised a definitely interesting perspective of that. Yeah, I never really thought about hariai, but I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's taken me a while to understand, because I know actually Kamiya Miyako said a similar word to ikigai would be hariai in her book. But that sounds like it has a bit more passion in it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I need to look at that a bit further, to be honest. Yeah, thank you for bringing it to my attention too. Yeah,
that's right. So many amazing Japanese words.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So let's move on to something I think everyone loves, and that is shoku. So what is shoku, and how do you tie it into your business and helping others?
Well, we can't not talk about naturopathy, talking about the food and nutrition and diet.
Mm.
And I love cooking. And every time I go different places, even the states, the outside from Cairns, the one thing I look for is, oh, where's the nice cafe? And the food. Food actually, I strongly believe to connect people. It's a
Yeah.
very cultural, and I really love about food, talking about the food, thinking about food. So I use it as a term as a naturopath, food as medicine. So definitely the fundamental for me to talk with my client must each time. And for me, first of all, important to understand what kind of food they've been eating, what kind of background they're coming from. Are they born in Australia, or they're born in different country and they used to eat different kind of food, and then being in Australia for a certain time and they change the diet gradually and adapt it to the environment. And those kind of elements also important for me to understand. Okay, so they might have a little bit of tolerance to something. For example, myself as a Japanese person, I do have intolerance, some degree of intolerance with the gluten and dairy,
Hmm.
because my ancestors did not
Yeah.
eat too much of those things, like such as bread,
Sure.
pasta, pizza, and then stuff like that. So if I eat too much, I have a little bit of challenge.
Yeah.
So talking about the ancestry eating is one of those common thing I start talking with my clients. So, what is your background? What kind of food your ancestor, your grandparents or grandparents used to eat? Even like European peoples, and even though they eat gluten or bread, and the gluten here in Europe is very different.
Yeah. Okay.
And another element would be eat with the season. I think we forget that. And studying Tibetan medicine was a wake up call for me to really honor the seasonal change, because some of the constitution in our body will aggravate each season, for example. So, according to this season, and we eat accordingly, is also very important, as well as understanding the natural makeup of ourselves, if that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense. And
Yeah.
that's one of the great things about going to Japan. The food is seasonal. And yeah, I guess you call it ancestral eating, wouldn't you? So, especially in a country like Japan that has a long history. And yeah, I guess Australia's a bit unique in that we're a multicultural. So we have access to all kinds of food. And we probably don't have a seasonal food other than, fruits or depending on the weather, we might. I mean, it's ridiculous. In the summer, we're eating for Christmas, we eat a roast and, all these foods you'd probably eat, or Europeans eat when it's their winter. So it's strange the kind of foods we eat. But I really love going to Japan, and in, winter, I might eat udon or oden. And then
Oh,
in summer, I might eat unagi or something like that.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
start doing a bit of own fermentation. So, for example, I made the miso myself
Oh,
with my
nice.
friends. They helped me to do that. Also, recently I started doing nukazuke. So,
Ah, that's
nukazuke
good.
is a rice bran bed, basically, and you can even buy from the health food store the rice bran, a bit of sea salt. Original bed I was given from my friends, and you're literally just adding the fresh rice bran flour powder if you need to add. And it's got the lactobacillus strains of the beneficial bacteria to health our gut flora.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Japan's big on gut health. I
Mm.
remember I remember in 1995 I went to Japan and someone was explaining to me what Yakult was. a little drink. And I was kind of confused because they were saying, oh, it's for bacteria in your gut. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, isn't that bad? And so now, 30 years later, we have this gut health boom and all these books and, all these recommendations on, eat kimchi or sauerkraut or kombucha. So Japan was, decades ahead in terms of gut health. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's move from food to, I guess, exercise. So undo and yutai undo. Maybe your thoughts on exercise are a bit different. So would you like to share your thoughts on exercise?
Sure. Thank you for that. Definitely the undo exercise is part of the chat in a consultation room with my client. And any movement, I believe that bring the happy hormone in the brain, endorphins. But I think it's important thing. Another important thing is what sort of movement bring us joy. So I asked the question. So is there any movement you enjoy doing it? So some people say dancing. Some people say walk with the dog every day, even 20 minutes. Okay, so you enjoy that. They say yes. Okay, that's great. Some people do gardening and sit and up. I believe that's the part of movement. So I think first of all, important thing is to define the movements that bring joy to us. So for example, I teach chair yoga every week at the community center. And yoga to me is really enhance of the practicing of the breathing because I heard from the yoga teacher who looked up the study in the past, and apparently we only use 16 or 20% of capacity, lung capacity, so we're not really using in optimal. And something like a yoga is actually helps to breathe better, and I feel better and calm after yoga practice. And Aikido, I practice a few times a week. To me, is build the resilience of my body and spirit. And it's a bit more vigorous than yoga, and I love that movement and connect with the person. I used to do salsa dancing, but I didn't enjoy, even though contact. Okay. I prefer Aikido for some reason. I have no problem touching the holding hands of men's hands. I used to feel a bit funny when I was doing salsa. And walking, that's another regular thing I do, and then I believe you do too. I remember you mentioned that you love walking.
Yeah.
Walking to me is to just organizing my thoughts because I don't know, I'm Aquarius. I'm not sure you kind of into those kind of stuff, but I've got an air element. So I fracture my thoughts by walking. Oh, okay, I wanted to do this today. Oh, I need to do that. And it's sort of just free kind of mapping thought and then connect with the nature, fresh air. And so I think another thing, my suggestion with the exercise or movement or undo is to have a purpose with that. Bring me joy. And what's the reason why you do it?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I also like how you try and tie nature to exercise. And I see spending time in nature almost as another pillar of health. We always seem to talk about diets, what we eat, exercise, sleep has become quite a topic of conversation in terms of health now, and all this research is coming out on the importance of sleep. But we don't seem to talk about the importance of spending time in nature. So I think undo or exercise is a great way to do that, even if it is just a walk in your local park. Yeah, I need to get back into my walking. I've been pretty busy and I've made the mistake of not doing it. So I might do that today after this podcast.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Enjoy.
So tied to nature is kankyo. So what is kankyo and why is that important for health?
Yes. And again, my interpretation of the kankyo and an environment, and I think is to vary or a variety of things that we can think of. The kankyo environment can be our house or room, or it could be a work setting. A lot of people go to work, or maybe like ourselves, work at home. That's environment. And also with the people, friends, colleagues, and the social environment. So it could interpret into different things. Some people just think about kankyo as sort of outside of things, going outside, could be a kankyo. But I see that way, a broad picture or of looking at it, and then start understanding a person, what kind of environment they have a challenge, master challenge, or they're working really well in that. So I think mapping out for themselves, like something simple question, which environment am I in at the moment? Do I feel good about it? For example, work environment. Like in the past, I told you about my career change from my tourism to naturopathy, and I wasn't happy with my work environment, for example. So I think asking simple question is definitely beneficial to find out which environment suited for us and may not so suited for us. And recognize is feel happy or may not so happy at the moment. I think we need to distinguish that. And then is there anything that we can make a little change for better? So understanding, acknowledging part is important. And I use that sort of simple question a lot with my clients. So I will probably leave it with that, talking about kankyo. Otherwise, I'll probably talk for ages.
Well, that's all right. I've realized we've only mentioned 4. So we've mentioned Jonetsu, Shoku, Undo, Kankyo, and there was another one. Yeah.
Yes, it's a spirit, seishin. And I asked you to become a guest. So perhaps you could probably share of that. And if you want me to,
I think you should. I mean, what's interesting about Japanese culture is, like the word kokoro, I was explaining this on the weekend, ties mind, heart, and spirit together as, I guess, one entity. And in the West, we try to say things like think with your mind, feel with your heart, and kind of almost disconnect. Whereas in Japan, it seems you can't have one without the other. They work together almost. And so then we have this idea of, I guess, seishin, which is, I guess it would be your spirit, but it's hard to define. But when I think about seishin, I might think of things like yutori, to have room in your mind or your life or physically, because it's good for your spirit, yes, to not have too many worries. I think it's...
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seishin, is it seishin teki na kokoro or something? I can't remember. But yeah, what is seishin for you? How would you describe it?
It's sort of, but that's my interpretation of that. And passion and spirit, jonetsu and seishin, it's sort of tied into me. For example, in Japanese tea ceremony, you heard of this word, omotenashi, hospitality, spirits.
Yes. Yep.
Or we could call it omotenashi no kokoro. And I hope I'm not confusing people, but because I have a passion to practice Japanese tea ceremony, so I can become a better person, better version of myself. And those kokoro and seishin need to go alongside together. Yeah. To me, it's important to me. Maybe seishin is the one to drive it, to move it, and kokoro is staying here. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not sure that maybe people, might have a different opinion of it or, view on it. And I think that's fine. And I'm really happy to hear other people's view. And I think it's important to hear other people's thoughts and view. But that's how I see it. or how I feel about that, how I observe that.
Yes. Reflecting on Japanese culture, there is that belief that all objects have a spirit. Yes. So a rock, even, I don't know, even a machine, piece of pottery, all have a spirit. So is that also tied to Seishin, that idea?
Yes, I was talking about that with the other event the other day, actually, business networking. Yeah, when I did the presentation of the tea ceremony, and then, we believe that everything's got a spirit. Therefore, we will treat with the, kansha, the great
Respect.
gratitude towards the thing, even though like a cup, for example, if I don't have this cup, I'm not able to have enjoy green tea, for example. So be grateful for that, the cup to be there
Yes.
for me so I can enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a very interesting view. I'm not sure that, for example, I was talking about the same spirit, Seishin, when I was as a tea practitioner to talk about Seishin as has a spirit in the teacup, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
There we go.
That's
So that.
awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very, very subtle, but I think that's a very interesting view what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Ken Moggy mentioned it too on one of my podcasts. This idea you have, can't remember the number, but you have, I don't know, 8,000 gods or something, which really just
Yeah.
means you have a spirit in, or you believe you have a spirit in every object. And as a
Yep.
result, you treat each object with care and respect and gratitude.
Yes.
It's a very powerful way to, I guess, raise awareness or maybe bring up children, like treat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm also immersing myself to decluttering my environment. That's more materialistic things. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually removed my excess things for the past few weeks, and I donated probably 15 to 20 bahts to Lifeline.
Oh, nice.
Just the lightness of, the feeling was quite significant.
Good for your seishin.
Yes, and we call it danshari.
Danshari. Oh, that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that for a long time.
Yeah.
Danshari. So, another cool Japanese word, danshari.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also seems to relate to that expression, yoyu ga aru, like when you have enough room. Like, so I guess we need to remove to have that space or that capacity for more in our life. And so, yeah, decluttering's something I'd like to do too.
Yeah.
Well, let's end with a little chat about Ikigai and go a bit deeper. So first, when you lived in Japan, I'm assuming you didn't really talk about Ikigai that much. Yes?
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I did not talk about much at all, and only I'm okay to reveal my age, and hit middle age after I hit 40 years old, my age, and I start really think about what's really important to my life.
Yeah. And so now Ikigai's a big part of your life. You've got your Facebook group, seems like you're educating people on the concept, and you're using it to help you live your life almost as a guide. So, yeah, what are other sources of Ikigai for you in your life at the moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, running business is becoming my ikigai, and again, tied into the Jonetsu as well. It's a passion to make a change. And I think I used to feel when challenge come into my life, like, okay, how can I avoid this? How can I play safe? But now embrace the challenge and change so I can feel alive. Hence, that's my ikigai.
There you go. I can relate. My business or my work is one of my Ikigai sources. And yeah, it's changed my life, obviously. So I get to, yeah, meet people or do these podcasts or learn more about Japan. And I guess Japan is a special place for me, like a second home. And yeah, Ikigai's really helped me reconnect with Japan again. So I'm
It's
very
another thing
grateful.
that, sorry to interrupt you, that it's gratitude towards you as well. And I mentioned this to Aikido sensei as well. Japanese tea ceremony sensei is a Japanese sensei, Mikako sensei.
Mm-hmm.
But Aikido senseis are all from Europe. Claudio sensei,
nice.
Dominic sensei, they're from France and Italy. And yourself, born in Australia and lived in Japan. And what an honor to meet somebody like yourself and my Aikido sensei that who actually really embracing and then loving the culture of, our culture, like Ikigai concept, and you really tap into different type of Japanese culture. And I have a huge gratitude towards my Aikido sensei as well. It's a really nice way to learn my culture from different background like yourself. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you. I mean, means a lot. And it's
I meant well.
It's amazing. It touches my heart that you can be open to my perspective when I'm, clearly I'm not Japanese. I'm a very unlikely person to be teaching Ikigai, being Australian, and our culture's so different, We're a relatively young country, I guess, if we don't consider Indigenous Australians as part of our culture, which obviously is not what I'm saying, but I guess we're a young country in terms of European influence. And yeah, we don't have this history like Japan does. So yeah, that means a lot to me. So thank you. Now, how can people find out about you? So feel free to mention your website, and you can also talk about your Facebook group and any upcoming events.
Yes, thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate the opportunity. And my naturopathic website is called Pure Joy Naturopathy. That's my business name. That's our website, and also the social media, Facebook, Instagram is the same name. Also, like Nick mentioned a few times, that how we met each other on the Facebook group, it's called Ikigai Live Life to the Fullest. So that's another group. Yeah. And I asked Nick to join the fun challenge is coming up on the 25th of March. Ikigai Harmony Challenge in tapping into the elements we discussed today. Jonetsu, also Shoku, Seishin, Undo, and Kankyo. We tap into this to find out and learning about your well-being. So Nick is going to talk about on the third day about Seishin, and I'm so looking forward to hearing what Nick is going to contribute to us, and it's going to be interactive. I can't wait. And there will be some webinars coming up through the within the year. People can check on my social.
Awesome.
Yep.
We will put all that in the show notes. So links to your websites, a link to the Facebook group, and your social media. So really glad we've had this conversation, and really enjoyed getting to know you, May, or Mayumi. I'll call you Mayumi. And yeah, I look forward to presenting on Seishin in a week or so, in 10 days or so. Yeah. So thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much again for your invite. And looking forward to keep the connection happening for the future as well, Nick. Thank you so much for the opportunity again.
My pleasure. Okay. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ikigai Podcast. To learn more about Ikigai or to become a certified Ikigai Tribe coach, visit ikigaitribe.com.